This is a 90-day calendar that sucks, and this is a 90-day calendar that doesn't suck. And in this video, I'm going to explain what the difference is between the two and the process that I went through to make this one. So I got this calendar on Amazon for about $30, and to be fair, it does its job just fine. It has a whiteboard laminated surface. It's pretty thin and flexible, so I can transport it around pretty easily if I need to. However, it does ghost quite a bit, meaning that if I don't erase it for a while, maybe over a month or more, then it is quite difficult to erase. Because of this, I'll usually have to get some water or Simple Green or other solution to be able to erase the dry erase marks that have been on there. But that's not the reason that I would say this calendar sucks. The reason I say it sucks is for one very specific problem, and that's whenever I hit the end of a month and have to start a new month. So at the time I'm recording this video, it's the end of January. So let's say we have January, February, and March on the calendar. So let's say we just finished January and now it's the first day of February. We have a couple options here. We could erase January and then put April here at the top, and then you would have April, February, March. Or if we want February, the current month, to be on the top, we would have to erase the entire whiteboard and then rewrite it all again. So then we could have February on the top and then March and then April. So to me, it makes the most sense to have the current month always on the top, which means that every month I would have to erase the whole thing and then rewrite it so that you have the current month followed by the next 2 months. And this is the core problem that I wanted to solve by making a new 90-day calendar, because I really am just too lazy to have to erase and rewrite this entire thing every 30 days. First world problem, I know, but it's still a problem nonetheless. So to solve this problem, I created the 90-day calendar that doesn't suck. Basically, instead of having one large 90-day calendar, there are 3 separate 1-month calendars that are mounted to the wall with brackets. So this way, whenever I hit the end of a month, I can just take it off the wall, move the next month to the top, which is now the current month, and then move the month after that to the middle. And then I only have to erase and rewrite this one whiteboard. And I can also take this whiteboard and go walk around the house with it, ask other people what their plans and events are, and put any applicable things on the calendar. So that way there, I don't always have to go to the wall to write on it, which is another little bonus. And to make this work, all I really needed to do was to create brackets that hold the weight of the whiteboards and then come up with a method to keep them from falling forward off the wall. So there are 4 brackets total. I would have only made 2 brackets, but I was limited by the size of the 3D printer that was used to print these. So because of that, the maximum length that I could make the brackets was 18.5 inches. So the basic way the brackets work is that there's a little triangular shelf for each of the whiteboards to sit on, and then there's a neodymium magnet inserted at the top to keep the whiteboard from falling forward. So each of these whiteboards is 16 inches tall by 20 inches wide. So this top bracket is just long enough to have the magnet for the top one, support the weight of the top one, and then have the magnet for the middle whiteboard. And then this bottom bracket supports the weight of the bottom 2 whiteboards as well as the magnet for the bottom whiteboard. So to make these brackets, I just use FreeCAD and some pretty basic 3D modeling to make a prototype. It's basically just an extruded rectangle with some screw holes, magnet slots, and triangular brackets. After I had the STL files ready, I asked my coworker to use his 3D printer to print them out. I did have to go through a few revisions because the first design I tried ended up not fitting the magnet properly, so I opted for a magnet slot in the side of the bracket instead. And when I printed this design for the first time with the wide edge on the bottom, the supports that were inside the magnet slot were almost impossible to get out. So I reprinted it with the base on the short edge instead with the slot facing upwards, and this time it came out great. Third time is the charm, I guess. I'll put a link in the description to the STL file for these brackets, so just be aware that if you decide to print your own, be sure to print them with the side edge on the bottom with the slot facing upward. Once all 4 brackets were printed, it was time to install the magnets. These are just some cheap neodymium magnets I got on Amazon, and to install them into the brackets, I just put a bit of super glue on the top and then dropped them into the slot and then added some more super glue on top over that to seal them in. Once all 6 magnets were installed, it was time to mount them on the wall. I made some measurements on the wall to make sure the boards would be at the right height so that I could write on them, and I was originally planning on mounting them into studs, but the whiteboards themselves are only about a pound or so each, so I figured going into drywall with some drywall screws would work just fine, and this would also allow me to center them on the wall better. With the measurements made, I screwed the upper brackets into the wall using a level to ensure everything was straight, and then triple checked the measurements before installing the bottom brackets so that the boards would line up properly. And after all the brackets were mounted, it was time to hang the whiteboards and fill them out with the dates. And that was that, a 90-day calendar that can be rearranged without having to rewrite all 3 months every time. The first time I hung these whiteboards on the wall, I actually just used adhesive Velcro strips, which also works, but it is more damaging to the paint, and they don't really sit nice and level like they do with the brackets. So that's the how and why I created this calendar. Let me know in the comments below if you think this is something that's actually useful or if it's just me being too lazy. I'll put links in the description below to where you can buy all the materials that I use to make this calendar, including the whiteboards, the magnets, and the super glue. I'll also put a link to where you can download the STL files for these brackets so that you can 3D print them yourself and make your own calendar setup just like this one. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.